This is my presentation on the two software management programs that I've chosen. The first one is Jira, and the next one is Monday.com. So first I'm starting off here in Spaces. Spaces are useful because you can have multiple different space. Say you have several teams on one project and you want to separate them into different teams, you can do that. Or if you have multiple projects under a portfolio, you can also enter the different projects in the space. You can create new spaces as well. So here are your spaces. You can add or create a space. You can remove them, of course. So just going into my project management team, this is the one that I've just created. So right now I don't have anything in here, but you can create a new task or feature. There's assets, you can create different, but we're going to do tasks for assigning tasks to different team members. And I'm just going to put signage. So say we are putting signage up on a building or something like that. I'm going to create that task for us to do. Okay, so it creates this task within this list. And on that, you have your assignee. Right now, I don't have anyone else in here, so I'm just going to assign it to myself. Here we have the priority. You can go low, lowest, high, highest. So right now I'll just leave it at medium. That's where it's at. And then you have ID, or you have your status rather, in progress, in review, to do, done. So we'll just go to do because it needs to be done. And then resolution, right now it's unresolved. So this is created, updated. It has no due date on it right at the moment. So, but we can put one. Let's just say we're going to put it for end of next week. And that's our due date. So this is our task that we have, and we have an assignee as well. And we can go within the task and we can add a description. We can add subtasks, linked worked items, comments, history, work log. So in here, so we see the history. It was created, the status was changed, the due date, everything that I just did there. And there's currently no comments, but you can add a comment. So like say, let's just say if the assignee needed some questions, had some questions on it, or need some clarification, or just want to say working on this now, for example, they could enter that in the comment and it would go in under the activity and the history, of course. And this is the work logged, so the assigned time for it. And then we have our board. So right now, here's our board. So we have to do, right? If we had other tasks, they could potentially be in these other categories as well. Then we have the calendar. And in the calendar, it should show, so this is the creation date, and it should also show, we see that this is the due date. And then we have a timeline as well, very similar in function. You can go into weeks, quarters as well there on your timeline. And then we have pages. So I don't have anything set up. You can try it now. But we also have forms, so you can create different forms to track work requests. And that is basically everything for Jira. We have the summary here, one created, one updated. You can go more in depth, of course, but this is a basic understanding. And this has different priority breakdowns. So you have a little bit of graphing going on as well in your summary to display it. And that's your work distribution. So this person has 100% of the work because there's only one task right now, for example. It also has some AI functions as well. You can ask AI. So if you have, sometimes you have like many tasks, you can filter as well and assign groups. So that can be for organizational purposes, because sometimes with some projects you can have, maybe thousands of tasks. And so those are just some ways to help organize that as well. So moving on to Monday.com. So Monday.com is quite similar. However, with Monday.com, I find that it's a lot more visual. So it kind of really pops out. You can see these are a lot more color coded and kind of, I guess you could say, like in your face, or kind of like more visual representation of everything. So here are just a few tasks. I'm not going to go through adding a task again because it's a very similar process as Jira. So here are the different tasks that you have. You have the owner and suggested people, so you can assign as well. And collaboration, again, you can assign for the collaboration. Again, you have your duration. So, well, this is duration. You have your statuses. So this one's stuck, but this can be working on or done. So just different types of statuses here. You can also use AI auto-assign labels. There's your timeline and your priority as well for your tasks. And this is all listed under to do. So on this one here, we have to do, done, and the other categories that can be there as well. So you can, of course, search this board. Here are your workspaces. So uh, this is under first project, but there is one under project management. Again, you have similar things. You have different workspaces that you can create as well. Uh, One thing that's different about Monday.com again is the visuals. So we have a lot more graphical representations. So we have tasks by status. So we have working 33%, done 33%. So we have 3, that's why. And each has its own status under this one. And this is the assignee, task by owner, rather. Sorry, this is task by owner. Again, task by due date, overdue tasks. So that gives you, again, and this is very useful if you're in a meeting or you're needing to present this to stakeholders. Instead of presenting raw data, you can go to your dashboard and reporting and just basically show and visualize. So let's just say you had something like 1,000 tasks. This would obviously be a lot more um, information, because you could say, okay, well, if I have 1,000 tasks and like maybe this is at 50% done, and then the others are in different statuses, you can say, okay, well, we have a lot of tasks, but we're halfway through. You could just see it just by looking at it, rather than going through every single task to determine that, which would be overwhelming. So that's very useful to have as well. So all of these are very good for collaborating. They are useful for uh, assigning tasks. And I believe that this is a lot more beneficial for uh, tasks that are not too complex, and it's understood that the recipient or the assignee will have a working knowledge already of what the task is, because you are not speaking with them, you're not in a meeting with them, you're not working with them side by side. You're the manager and you're just putting out these tasks. Again, they can collaborate and they can communicate, as we've seen, when they have questions within that, but it is limited in the sense that you can't go in depth. So it's very good at increasing efficiency, but if your priority is effectiveness, with something that is maybe a little bit more complex, it's not a replacement. It could be good. So if you have, say, another manager and you need to assign a manager the task of training a team member, you could assign them that, and that would be directional, as opposed to making the task for the team member without that training or in-depth process that you need. For example, you just tell the manager, okay, you need to train this person to be able to do this task, and then once they can do this task, then you assign them the task to do. I think that's where it comes in to being very useful.